Let me write something in here. Tonight we are giving gifts, but it's you and me.
We're doing gifts and we're doing announcements?
Yeah, I don't know about the announcements parts.
We are. Okay.
You giving gifts, right?
Giving gifts. Okay.
We can tag team.
I think it's not also a birthday. Just be here till 8. I'm just going to finish my starting.
Well, let... Hello, Peter. Hine ma tov umanai sheverachim gam yachad. Hine ma tov umanai sheverachim gam yachad. Sing together. Hine ma tov umanai sheverachim gam yachad. Big oi. Hine ma umanai sheverachim gam yachad. Repeat after me. And it's kind of warm in here, but it's great. I want you to sing with such fervor that I want to see the beads of sweat roll off your foreheads. I want to see, when you get up at the end of services, I want to see the backs of your shirt soaked. You got to put some effort into your prayer.
And then come give him a hug.
You don't get out what you don't put in. Hine ma tov
nayim.
Not bad. Shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov umanai shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov umanai shevet achim gam yachad. Work it. Hine ma tov umanai shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov umanai shevet achim gam yachad.
Were you at Camp Havarim today?
I was. No, I was not.
Oh.
I was at Camp Nativot today.
Ah.
Yes. Why do you ask?
Your camp is showing.
My camp is showing. Excuse me 1 second.
Oh, much better.
Okay.
Page 6.
Page 6. Shalom Aleichem Malachi Asharet Malachi Yom. Shalom Aleichem Malachi Asharet Malachi Yom. Malachi Hamla Akadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leshalom Malachi Hashalom Malachi Elyon. Melech Malachi Hamlachim Akadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni leshalom Kuni leshalom Malachi Elyon. Melech Malachi Hamlachim Akadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem leshalom Tzedchem leshalom Malachi Hashalom Malachi Elyon. Melech Malachi Hamlachim Akadosh Baruch Hu.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Let's take a second to recognize where we are in the calendar of the year. So 2 nights ago was Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av marks the end of 3 weeks that are known as kind of the 3 weeks of tragedy, the 3 weeks of sadness, that mark the days between the fast of the 17th of Tammuz, where we commemorate the walls of the city of Jerusalem being breached, and then the end Tisha B'Av, where we remember the first and the second temples that were destroyed. So that was Wednesday night. Today, this Shabbat is a very special and named Shabbat. There's only about 8 Shabbats in the entire year that are named. This Shabbat is Shabbat Nachamu. And it comes from the Haftarah that we read in the morning after our Torah reading, which begins the words of the prophet Isaiah, Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami. Take comfort, be comforted, my people. And so this Shabbat begins the 7 weeks of consolation. After we have been so low, remembering all of the terrible things in our history, we are methodically marched over the course of 7 weeks until we reach Rosh Hashanah. We are 7 weeks from Rosh Hashanah. I felt it too. Thank you for being here on this Shabbat Nachamu, and to bring us a little bit of comfort, to bring some light into our community, we'd like to invite up Jake, and Sienna, and Cliff and Crystal, the Wyatts. We're going to light our Shabbat candles. We're on page 8.
And this is in honor of Jake becoming bar mitzvah. He'll be called to the Torah actually at next week's service.
You're going to be there. We go. Let's look up. You're going to be English up here. And do you want to hold the microphone or do you want me to? No, you're going to both. Wait till he's
Wait, what do I read? Okay. Almighty God, allow us to rest on this Shabbat. May the light of the candles drive out from within us all impatience and sorrow. Send your blessings to us and our children that we may walk in the ways of your Torah, your light.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner להדליק נר של שבת.
Jake will lead us in our Kiddush a little bit later. But for now, we'll continue on page 9 at the top.
ידי נפש אב הרחמן, ידי נפש אב הרחמן, משוך עבדך, אל רצונך, משוך עבדך, ירררררר, אל רצונך ירוץ עבדך כמו אייל ישתחווה אל מולדתך עבדך כהויה ישתחווה ירררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררררrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr da da da. Ya da 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 da. Ya ya da da da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 ya. Da da da.
We'll continue on page 10 at the bottom, and Amy's going to lead us.
God's earth alive with joy, islands laughing, swirling cloud and mist, the throne of justice and fire walking before. People looked to the sky and they saw a heavenly world of color and light. Zion heard and she laughed. The daughters of Judah, they danced.
God lovers hate evil. Light is a seed planted for the righteous. When they soon will harvest of it.
Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Ve'ishtachavu Le'hakodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Ve'ishtachavu Le'hakodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Ve'ishtachavu Le'hakodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Ve'ishtachavu Le'hakodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu
Page 12, Ravid will lead us.
A David song, God's voice upon the waters, the God of glory thunders. God's voice the cedars, splits open the cedars of Lebanon, Mount Lebanon and heaven. They leap like a calf and dance. God's voice in flames of fire shatters the wilderness silence. Thunder rolls in the Kadesh desert.
Beneath the storm, gazelles give birth. God strips the forest bare. In the celestial temple, burning stars sing glory.
God sat above the flood and will dwell on high forever. Give strength unto your people and bless your people with peace.
Ana bechoa Girulat yemincha Tatir tzerura Kaberena Amcha sagbenu Taharenu nora Ana bechoach gedulat yemincha Tatir tzerura Kaberinat amcha Sagbenu taharenu nora Shavatenu kabel שמע צעקתנו, יודע תעלומות. אנא בכוח, גדולת ימינך, תתיר צרורה, קבל עיניו, עמך סגרנו, טהרנו נורא. Page 14. We welcome the Sabbath bride with these ancient words, these mystical words of Lecha Dodi, where we are the people Israel, we are in this metaphor the groom, and Sabbath is like a bride to us that comes in at sundown on Friday nights. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת אלי תהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה התעוררי כי באורך קומי אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת
We rise and we face our entrance.
נקבלה בואי בשלום עצרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה
please offer some warm greetings to those around you. Wish them a Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Those of you on Zoom, the joke is that it's very warm here.
Shabbat Shalom, Barry. Shabbat Shalom, Jane. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Laura.
Warm greeting. Hello, everybody on Zoom. Shabbat Shalom to you.
Shabbat Shalom.
Do-do.
We'll remain standing and turn to page 18.
Yitkadash, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Madivra chirutei, Ve'amlich malchutei,
B'chayechon u'b'yomecho,
U'chayenecho Beit Yisrael. Bagala, Bagala, U'bizman karim.
Ve'imeu
Yeshmei Rabbah
Mevara.
Le'alam u'lamei Amaya Yitbarach
Yitbarach ve'yishtabach ve'yipar ve'yirmam ve'yanaseh ve'hadar ve'yachaleh Shemei lekudasha barichu.
Brichu, Brichu, Ve'ela, Mikol Birchata, Ve'shinirata, Tushbechata, Ve'nechemata, Tamiram Ve'alma Ve'imru.
Page 20.
Baruchu et Adonai
You may be seated. We'll continue on page 23. And Elizabeth is going to lead us.
Word by word, the evening descends. The gates of night swing open. Night washes over day and flows out again at dawn. Day passes and you bring on the night.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbeinu v'kumenu Nasiach b'chukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומם בלילה, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומם בלילה, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומם בלילה, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומם בלילה, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל.
Page 26.
שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
Page 28, Arvei Hafta. And Jake, maybe with some Aaron, will lead us.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשיטתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובחומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Aaron, will you lead us on the top of page 30?
In each of our lives, we come at last to a limit where we are forced to stop running and to cry out to God. How many times have you saved us and pulled us from the fist of danger? We lose count of your miracles. We saw your power revealed at the shore of the sea. There we danced and sang a new song to you.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נעדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוספל, נורא תהילות אוספל. יא בם בם בים בים בם, יא בם בם בים בם, יא בם bum bim bim bum, yabba bum bum bim bum, ay ay da la la, yabba bum bum bim bum, ay ay da la la, yabba bum bum bim. מלכותך ראו בניך, פוקי הים לפני משה, זה אלי אנו ועם לעולם ועד. יא בם בם בים בם, יא בם בם בים בי בם, יא בם בם בים. היי היי לה לה, יא בם בם בים. היי היי לה לה, יא בם בם. ונאמר כי פדרוני את יעקב וגואלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Page 32.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם.
Give us a night of peace, God, and bring us life in the morning. Spread over us your quiet tent. Take our hand, lead us safe through this night. Be above us, drive away sickness, sword, and sighing. Go before us, watch behind us. Let the spreading darkness be the shadow of your wings. Tonight our souls fly far. In our dreams we leave this place. Guide us home at dawn. Bring us life, make us whole. You are blessed, God, who watches over the people of Israel and over Jerusalem. This side we're going to wait.
This side, sing with me. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom. Hamidenu Malkeinu Lechaim. Beautiful.
34.
I think my side did a much better job than your side.
Shalom Bayit, Cantor.
Remember, I feel campy today.
Right.
At camp, we compete.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, I mean, you had Avi and
I had the kids' table.
you had the kids' table.
Yes.
Yeah, Hazel.
Definitely. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריתולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת. שבס.
לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש.
שבת וינפש.
שבת וינפש.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. When the prophet Isaiah said, Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami, I don't think this is what he had in mind, but it's working. We'll turn to page 36 now for Amidah, which we'll pray silently through page 50. Feel free to use the words in the book or to close the book and use the words of your heart. We'll rise together.
Adonai Sifatai Tiftach Ufi Yagi Tehilatecha Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your glory.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואימרו אמן amen. We'll turn to the bottom of page 50 as we turn towards the words of our Misha Berach. There are members of our community that we hold dear to our hearts. We're thinking this evening of Linda Phillips, Shirley Morrison, Debbie Spungen, Nina Gelman-Gans, Diane Phillips, Carol Payton, Dory Levy, Marilyn Margulies, Gloria Kaufman, Andy Saphir, Barbara Williams, Julie Ernstein, Mort Rudin, Yehudit Naomi Bat Shulamit, Abe Presser, Hannah Mangus, Misha Zilberman, Zev Nathan, and Bob Keats. If you have a name that you'd like to add for Misha Berach, please say that name aloud for our community.
Carolyn Callahan, Claudia Macbeth, Barbara Goldstein, Donnie Hammett,
Charles Pocano.
Nancy Mann, and David Newland.
Join together in these words.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach imotenu Mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Friday morning, 2 weeks ago, our group woke up early in Berlin and took the train out to a small town called Wittenberg. This is very loud. No? Oh, my bad. After spending nearly a week in the confusing and loud metropolis of Berlin, Wittenberg felt a little bit like an oasis, a charming city surrounded by grassy fields, with a Disneyland Main Street type feel as we walked past multicolored houses and apartments with cute shops at the bottom. Wittenberg is most known worldwide for being the location of the church whose doors Martin Luther nailed his 95 Theses. Today, Wittenberg is home to numerous universities and research institutions in celebration of that history, as our tour guide was so eager to tell us. In fact, she said they have an annual exchange with cities across the U.S. where Americans come and study there and then go back. In that same city of Wittenberg, 2 blocks from the famous church, is a slightly more infamous one. Atop the church is a small iron engraving, part of what was once a much larger installation called the Judensau, the Jewish pig. It depicts a rabbi looking for the name of God in the rear end of a pig, while his students suckle at the pigs beneath. The history of the Judensau and its overt anti-Semitism extends far further back into history than Nazi Germany. In fact, it was put there in the early 1300s, 2 centuries before Martin Luther's attempted reform at the church. This old depiction of early anti-Semitism, being anti-religious anti-Semitism, sits now at the center of debate in Germany. Some Jews believe it should be taken down, as proven by the numerous lawsuits naming it as defamatory of the Jewish people. Others, though, wanted to stay up on the church as a reminder of the dark past that once was. Below the Judensau's 20-foot perch is a memorial piece of art coming out of the ground, commemorating the Holocaust. Its broken tablet-esque design honestly did very little for me, or really anyone in our group, if my memory serves me right. Both disrespecting Jewish tradition by putting the Hebrew name of God, Yud-He-Vav-He, on the ground where it could be stepped on, and for its seeming lack of recognizable purpose. But it is there nonetheless, mirroring the Judensau. And the tour guide, very emotionally, stood over this memorial plaque and under the Judensau and said to our group, "We are very sorry for what we did to your people." It was one of the most uncomfortable moments of the trip for me. In fact, uncomfortable would describe my emotional state for many parts of our young adult group's trip to Berlin. And while I wouldn't dream to speak for any of the others in our group who were there, many of whom I see here tonight, and I'm so happy to see you again. While I wouldn't dream to speak of any of their opinions, in our discussions, we dove deep into that dissonance that we felt at various moments. I'd like to try to express to you all tonight, as best I can, why this emotional discomfort was so important, and why even today, 2 weeks later, I don't feel resolved. I don't feel fully whole yet. At the same time, I'm extremely grateful for the gift that we were granted to partake in this incredible experience. Our trip to Berlin was funded primarily by American dollars given to the Germans in the 50s to help rebuild the country. The bank that was established by the money offered short-term loans to small businesses. And due to the restrictions on use of funds from that bank and the interest of those loans, money accumulated over time in a fund unable to be put back into the bank. And after the bank closed, the money remained and now sits as an endowment whose interest is used to fund programs like this, bringing young Jewish Americans to Germany for an encounter. There were so many highlights of the trip, but I'd like to take tonight to offer thoughts on 2 important aspects that we explored: Holocaust memory and the current Jewish community of Berlin. This trip was certainly not a Holocaust tour, as some people might call their trips to Europe. But we did spend a significant amount of time exploring Germany's role in the starting of the Holocaust and its subsequent grappling with Holocaust memory today. This culminated with a trip to the Sachsenhausen concentration camp, a camp about 35 minutes outside of Berlin's city center. Unlike the camps we tend to know the names of well, like Auschwitz, Dachau, Treblinka, Sachsenhausen was not a death camp, meaning people were not sent there to be killed. That doesn't take away from the fact that 50,000 people were murdered there, mostly by being worked to death. I really didn't know what to feel when I first walked into the camp. I was apprehensive, as if I was expected to witness something that I wasn't sure I was going to see. The first thing that caught my eye was the gates with the words, Arbeit macht frei, on the iron gate leading into the camp. Work will set you free, famously inscribed over Auschwitz. But as we walked around, I felt nothing. Empty. That was until we walked to the back of the camp, and I saw for the first time in my life crematoria, built for the purpose of disposing bodies. My nothing turned to pain and anger. And something else that surprised me greatly, accomplishment. I didn't know why I was feeling it, so I didn't say anything to our group. It wasn't until this last Sunday, talking to members of our community, that I realized that this trip to Germany, and specifically to a concentration camp, was something of a pilgrimage for me, a holy return to an unholy place. In our visit to the camp and immediately following, we found ourselves faced with two difficult observations. As we walked down a green path toward the concentration camp, on our right was a police training center for the Bavarian Police Department. We learned that as part of the putting the police training center there, certain agreements were made. First, that no dogs could be trained there. And second, that the shooting range had to be underground so that no shots could be heard in the camp. This was strange enough. But our confusion turned to anger for many in our group when we were told that the site of the police training grounds was the previous training facility for the SS. This was maybe the first moment that we were faced with the clash of memory and moving on. After all, one of our presenters said at one point, we're talking about 80 years ago. We're a different country now. The other observation that we made was at the memorial to the murdered Jews of Europe. This gigantic display of what looks like an undulating sea of gravestones was an emotionally powerful place for us. And equally distracting were the many people out enjoying a sunny Friday afternoon, sitting on the monuments, many stones, reading books, drinking beer, and playing tag in between. And again, we felt torn. Shouldn't this be a place of memory, of somber realization of the pain that was caused? On the other hand, was this a sign that Germany had internalized Holocaust memory so well, it was just part of who they were? We didn't meet enough people to really know the answer to that. But from what we did hear, my takeaway is, unfortunately, quite grim. Germany, the country, does a great job, honestly an excellent job, of memorializing the Holocaust and the lives lost there. Germans, on the other hand, seem woefully unknowledgeable. A word that consistently came up in our discussions was performative memory, or as German sociologist Michael Bodman calls it, the theater of memory. It was as if these memorials were putting on a show for us, but not for anyone else. It felt unsatisfactory. I felt like I needed more. But on the other hand, the question we could not answer was, if this is not enough, what would be? What would be enough? We had the opportunity as well to interact with the modern, lively, bright, and vibrant Jewish community of Berlin. This was much more gratifying. We met with the chief rabbi of the Chabad of Berlin, who dazzled us with stories and smile, and wowed us with how the Berlin Jewish community rescued hundreds of Ukrainian Jews, giving them a place to call home. We also attended services in the husk of what was once the grandest synagogue in Berlin, a small conservative minyan that met in an old classroom turned sacred space, and prayed with them on Shabbat evening. We visited the Jewish Museum of Berlin and looked through the windows of modern Jewish life, seemingly thriving of its own accord, and it was wonderful. But we also heard about how young, non-Jewish Germans today don't realize there are Jews still living in Germany. To them, Jews were the people who were killed or fled. Jews were still in the 1940s, while they were in 2020. We heard of the dangers of the rise of the new extreme right in Germany, and of the extreme anti-Semitism in the large Muslim population there. There were times that in Germany, the country that feels so bad about the Holocaust, there were times I did not feel safe as a Jew. It still feels broken there. But instead of an outward and more obvious hatred of Jews, it seems to be more of an ignorant, reserved, under-the-table anti-Semitism. The church with the Judensau, outside, set to be the memory of a time when we didn't treat Jews well, is still a church today. And we went inside, many of us, and we took a tour of the art hanging on the wall, art hundreds of years old by masters of their craft. And the art standing right above the altar was a giant painting of the Last Supper. And who was depicted with a silver bag hiding behind his back, and Jesus with his finger in his mouth, but Judas. The anti-Semitism was still there. But this time, the tour guide didn't know that's what that was. To not leave you on an upset note. When we thought the trip was done, when we had poured out our emotional souls to each other and went off to drink beer and celebrate the end of a very successful week, something extraordinary happened. As we were sitting at the table, one of our guides brought a woman up to me. A woman who, when seeing me, dropped to her knees and started crying and kissing my hands. It was the strangest, most out-of-body experience I've ever had. And I had no idea what was going on, even though she was telling me that she was a Syrian Jew now living in Berlin. I couldn't, it didn't connect. And about 20 minutes went by and our whole table sat and discussed and kind of all burst into tears. And we realized that there are no Jews in Syria today. But here is a Syrian Jew who has taken refuge in a country that perpetrated the most grievous acts of hatred against Jews, working and safe. And this woman who saw our group of Jewish people out and having a good time, wearing yarmulkes, being outwardly Jewish, falling to her knees as if a miracle had just occurred. That too is Jewish Germany today. I'm incredibly grateful to have had this opportunity to have become closer with so many members of our young adult community. And I've become emboldened to the experience of Jews around the world, and grateful that I am a Jew safe in Santa Barbara. Shabbat Shalom. We'll continue with our Aleinu on page 120, and I'll invite you to rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
You may be seated. This palace, blue curtain of sky, rock foundation of earth, conceals and reveals the presence of God. All is God, there is nothing else, as it is written. Make yourself aware, awaken your heart to this. God fills the heaven and earth, there is nothing else. You are hope for a better world, in which the false gods that divide us will disappear, and the human family will abandon our old hatreds and fears. L'taken olam, to heal this fractured world, we need vision and hope. We still hold fast to the ancient prophecy. A time will come of a world at peace. On that day there shall be one God, and the name of God shall be one. V'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yireh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. We turn to page 122 for our mourner's Kaddish. And if you are here saying Kaddish, I'll invite you to rise as I read your loved one's name. We're in the first week of mourning, the passing of Corey Suidam, son of Mary Suidam and Michael Levine, and of Claire Goldstein, mother of Joan Rothenberg. We're in the first 30 days after the passing of Bobby Crute, Tom Bates, Jessica Glick, Donna Altunian, and Lanny Fetter. We're in the first 11 months of saying Kaddish for Seymour Backmuth, Elon Levy, Ira Weinstein, Julie Nadell, Bobby Rosenblatt, Stan Hagendorf, Freda Spirka, Sergei Kotlayar, Anne Lewin Benham, Thelma Rare, Leo Gans, Sam Stein, Roger Katz, Edward Abbott, Anita Besman, Freda Mizell, Rose Armin Edelson, Bernie Friedman, Nora Anselovich, Badane Bynes, Natalie Meyerson, Ken Hartok, Oscar Lowenschus, Maura Schmidt, and Lori, I know that your mother should be on here. Thank you. And the Shabbat marks the yard sites of Lillian Barish, Sarah Baum, Halim Bayalis, Aaron Feinstein, Sylvia Good, Yonatan Goetzman, Ruth Kaplan, Manya Lipschitz, Mel Marks, Gerald Nadler, Henry Ostern, Patricia Evelyn Rogers, Irv Rosen, Harold Schoen, Alfred Siegel, and Harold Wilson. And if you have a name that you'd like to add for Kaddish or a name that I mispronounced, please rise, share that name with our community. Please follow your own custom, either to remain seated or to rise. And joining these words together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei ve'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lamei almaya, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitba'ar, V'yitromam, V'yitnaseh, V'yithadar, V'yitale, V'yithalal, Shemei Dekudsha, B'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min Shemaya, v'chaim aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, Hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol shvei tevel v'imru amen. You may be seated. Except for Jake Wyatt. I'd like to invite up so that Cantor Childs and I can present you with some gifts on behalf of our community. Yes, they are. Come on up here.
Now, Jake is being called to the Torah, not this Shabbat, but next Shabbat. But he was so excited about these gifts that he wanted them a week early so that he could use them next week.
I don't blame you. Jake,
Hello.
on behalf of our congregation, I'd like to present you with this beautiful Kiddush cup. May you fill it to the brim with sweet wine or juice to represent a fully joyful life. And from our WAB, our Women of B'nai B'rith, these beautiful candlesticks. May they bring much light into your life on many Shabbat evenings. From our local Jewish Federation, a tzedakah box to instill in you the values of giving tzedakah as a Jewish act. From Route 1 and Nifty, a $3,250 gift certificate toward a summer trip to Israel.
What?
We hope you might do that one day.
Me too.
Oh, good. And all of this goes in the sacred tote bag of the congregation.
It's a pretty cool tote bag.
Here, you hold
It's a
that.
very cool tote bag. We'll put these in. And now we will eagerly await this coming week so that we come to your bar mitzvah next week.
Just gonna, yeah,
Mazel tov.
thank you.
Mazel tov.
All right,
Stop it. Stop. I just hope that you all get a chance to spend a few minutes with Jake Wyatt, because I guarantee those few minutes will be few minutes that you never forget your entire life. There's nobody like Jake. We won't say why.
Just a couple of announcements on behalf of our community. First of all, immediately following our service, we would like to invite you down to the fellowship hall where we'll make Kiddush and we'll say Motzi, led by Jake, and then partake in a festive meal. There is still time, I know, because the audiobook takes 5 hours, and we are more than 5 hours away. If you'd like to join us on Sunday morning for our Israel Between the Pages, we're looking at the book Fly Already by Etgar Keret. He is a fantastic Israeli short story writer. And even if you only read a few short stories, you qualify. So we hope you'll join us. That is going to be at, what's it called?
The Fairview office?
The Fairview offices, sorry. I got confused last week when we started making relationships between Trinity Lutheran and Three Pickles, and now I'm all over the place.
Jet lag.
It's a little bit of everything. Are there any other things coming up? Check our calendar for any things coming up.
At tonight's Oneg Shabbat, I see Phil Feldman is in the house. Phil, would you do us the honor of leading some Israeli dancing tonight? Fantastic. There'll be Israeli dancing tonight at the Oneg Shabbat. What a treat. Thank you. Page 124. Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol,
Yetzir Nivra,
Yetzir Nivra,
Le'et Nasa,
Le'et Nasa, V'chetzo Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Adon Olam,
V'yachare, Kichot HaKol, Levado Yimlok Nora,
Adon Olam,
Vehu Haya, Vehu Hove, Vehu Yeh Betifara,
Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol,
Yetzir Nivra,
Yetzir Nivra,
Le'et Nasa,
Le'et Nasa, V'chetzo Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Adon Olam,
Vehu Echad, Ve'en Sheni, Lehamshilo Lahakbira,
Adon Olam,
Beli Reshit, Beli Tachlit, Velo Haoz VeHaMizrach,
Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol,
Yetzir Nivra,
Yetzir Nivra,
Le'et Nasa,
Le'et Nasa, V'chetzo Kol, Hazai Melech Shemo Nikra, Adon Olam,
Vehu Eli, V'chai Goali, V'tzorchev li Be'etzara,
Adon Olam,
Vehu Nisi, Umanos li, Menarkosi Beyom Mekra,
Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol,
Yetzir Nivra,
Yetzir Nivra,
Le'et Nasa,
Le'et Nasa, V'chetzo Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Adon Olam,
Beyahado, Avkid Ruchi, Be'et Tishan Ve'ya'ira,
Adon Olam,
Ve'im Ruchi, Geviati, Adonai li Ve'lo Ira, Adon Olam, Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol,
Yetzir Nivra,
Yetzir Nivra, Le'et Nasa, V'chetzo Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Adon Olam.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom again, Zoom.
What?